Welcome everybody to the Starin Town Hall. My name's Chris Neto. I'm the Market Development Manager. And today we have Polly here with us today. I hope you guys are ready, willing, excited to see some cool stuff because yes, we have some demos being done live on the fly without a net. So I hope that our guests are ready for this. You always cross your fingers and hope that everything's kind of switches okay. It's not them, their gear works. Sometimes it's us just trying to switch over stuff. So don't hold that against us. Anyway, let's start off by bringing in Albert Campbell from Polly. Polly, hey, you know what? Give us a little introduction, who you are, sir, and what you do for Polly.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, thanks. Albert Campbell. I've been with Polly now /HP, and we'll get to that in a second, for going on 17 years. Before that, I was a customer for, I want to say 15 years. So I've been in the industry a long, long time. I've seen a lot of things change in the industry. I am the DCAM for Starin. So I'm the distribution channel account manager for this great Starin team. Today, we are going to have Elizabeth from our Experience Center down in Herndon, Virginia, give us some of the great, and again, as an ex-customer, I love all of our camera and audio advances and technologies. If I had this technology 20 years ago, I'd probably be a scratch golfer instead of a -20 or a 20. So, yeah, she's going to show us some great stuff.
No matter what the technology, I'll never be a good golfer, regardless of what you do in the technology world. You can't do this. Elizabeth, also known as Yellowstone Room. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do for Polly?
Everybody, my name is Elizabeth Petillo, and I'm the Customer Experience and Demonstration Manager here at the Polly Experience Center in Herndon, Virginia. We're one of 4 site-specific experience centers across the U.S., including Austin, San Jose, New York, and then right here in the Washington, D.C. metro area. We also have a remote virtual briefing center based in Austin as well that you can utilize for your clients. So really our job within our briefing centers is to make sure that you as our partners, customers, and end users understand what the experience of using Polly solutions in your home or office environments feels like, how we can benefit you from in a sense of giving that really professionally produced audio and visual experience, no matter where you're working.
Awesome. I just got handed this note by producer Mark. He would like to know, of the experience centers, which one is the best one?
I'm a little bit biased, so I say come on down to Herndon and check out our solutions. But every single one of my colleagues in the briefing centers does an amazing job touring our facilities with our customers and partners, making sure that we're really able to tailor our briefings to your and your customers' needs. So I would say we're all at an equal playing field here. You'll have a great experience no matter which center you visit.
I don't know about you guys, but I think that's a vote of confidence for the Herndon office. Just don't tell everybody else. We don't have to get anybody in trouble here. We're all friends here. All right. So what do you guys have in store for us today? This is a tough crowd, as you know. Our audience, it can go everywhere from integrators to technology managers. Albert, the floor is yours. Tell us what we're in for today as far as this presentation of the Polly products.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Chris. So what Elizabeth is going to show us today is some of our, what we call our meeting equity, our artificial intelligence. All this stuff can go on in the background. All I need to do is simply walk into the room, and the room is basically going to take over and make sure I'm presenting the best, heard the best, and knock out some noises around us. So that's what I love about our solution. So she's going to show us that on our X Series platform, and these devices can work on Zoom, Microsoft, everybody out there. And at the end, we're going to go over some of the new stuff we have coming, some of the new announcements. But actually, Elizabeth is the star of the show, so she's going to take us through the next 20, 25 minutes. So I'm going to throw it to Elizabeth, if that's okay, Chris.
Absolutely. Elizabeth, let's start off by finding out where you are, what you're going to show us, and the show is now yours. Producer Mark, hand the camera over to Elizabeth to run with.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chris. So right now we're going to dive into a few of our user experience and far-end experience demonstrations relating to our acoustic and our camera innovations. And we're going to start off with the camera. I'm using the E70 camera in this conference room right now. As Albert mentioned, our rooms are able to run in multiple platforms, whether you're using a native Teams environment, a native Zoom environment. I'm using a native Zoom room right now in order to come through to this Zoom webinar. And with this E70 camera, this is the camera that I'm using as the camera that's sending my image to your far end right now. So this E70 camera is one of those powerful cameras that we produce here at Poly, and it's really special because it has two lenses here. So with these two lenses, I have a 120-degree field of view wide-angle lens that's able to capture the entire room with a lot of clarity. And then we also have a 90-degree field of view telescopic lens that offers tracking and zoom up to 25 feet away from the camera itself. So for a larger conference room solution, this is going to be a fantastic option that's able to track your participants in different ways and make sure that that far end participant really feels like they have an equal seat at the table. So right now I'm using a camera fixed preset just to capture myself right here at the head of the table, but I just want to show exactly how far away I am from the camera at this point. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out. You can see my full room here. So I'm actually sitting about 22 feet away from the camera right now, and you can see that I'm here with my colleague Mariana up at the front of the table too. So you can see, that head of the table shot, we get that 7x zoom. It's still really clear. You still get a really great shot, but this is how far away I am, right? So with these presets, we're able to go ahead and show that entire room, but with our tracking, this is where things get really fun. I'm gonna toggle on my speaker tracking mode, and within speaker tracking, it does exactly what it says in the name. It's just going to track me as the active speaker as I move around that room. So whether I'm sitting down, I can go ahead and stand up, and you'll notice the camera will go ahead and adjust to the new level where my head and shoulders are at. I always like to point out here that it makes a really nice slow pan as I move around the room. We don't want to give our far end user too much of a whiplash effect as they're watching that active speaker on their Zoom or Teams application on their laptop, for instance. And I'll go ahead and move around the room just so you can see that camera as it tracks. Now you'll have noticed that as I approach the camera, and I'm standing about 5 feet away at this point, there's a little bit of a fade effect as that camera cut between two different shots. And that's actually the director AI technology in the back end deciding that we want to flip between the two lenses. So now we're capturing me on the wide angle lens that's able to give that clearer image closer to the camera itself. And so it's making those decisions on its own. It's all automatic. So as I move around my space, that camera is going to automatically decide how it wants to track me, either through that slow pan like it's doing now, or by swapping over to that telescopic lens or the wide angle lens, just like you saw right there, depending on where I'm standing in the room. So as the active speaker, I can feel really confident that that camera is going to track me. It's going to give a lot of integrity to my image no matter where I am. Now, of course, I am the sole active speaker at this point, but you know that Mariana is here in this room with me. So I'm actually just going to show what speaker tracking does when we have a second active participant join the call. So Mariana, I'm just going to have you introduce yourself. I'll hand the conversation over to you.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. Hello, everyone. My name is Mariana. I'm the front desk receptionist here at the Herden site. And as you can see now that I'm speaking, the camera will start focusing onto me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So you'll see that as Mariana started to speak, and now as I start to speak, that camera is going to automatically swap out to a group framing mode that shows us together. Then as it allows that context to the far end user as to where we are in relation to each other, how we might be talking back and forth. Now that I'm resuming being that active speaker, the camera is going to zoom in right on me again. So we like to call this following the conversation. That camera is really providing that context to your remote participants in this call to make them feel like they're really part of that conversation, like they're in the room, like they know how we're reacting to each other. If we go back and forth, it's not going to be too jarring of an effect. They know exactly what's going on in that room at any given time, while the concentration and focus remains on the active speaker as the most important participant in that room at any given time. Now, of course, with that speaker framing mode, we do also offer a mode called group framing that allows us to simply contextualize everybody in the room at the same time, regardless of where we are. So I'm just flipping over to group framing mode now, and you'll see that now the camera's just capturing all of the participants in the room, regardless of where they are. So if I go ahead and stand up and move around, you'll notice that that camera is just going to go ahead and adjust the shot to make sure that both of us are captured in the room with as much clarity as possible. Now, finally, we have a mode that we're really excited about that really indicates the sense of media quality that Poly is known for, and that's called people framing mode. So I'm going to turn on people framing, and you'll notice that Mariana and I will be swapped out into our own separate boxes. So now Mariana and I are equally contextualized within that image. If we added up to 6 people, we would get a Brady Bunch style 6-person grid, 3/2, so that everybody's face can be seen by a far end participant with as much clarity as possible. This is really fantastic for those group situations where you have someone who might be presenting, but you also want to know, how are the other people in the room reacting to that presentation? Are they agreeing and nodding their heads? Are they shaking their heads no and disagreeing? We want to understand all of that data. We want to be able to see everybody live. So in an instance where you want a little bit more information, a little bit more of that kind of interpersonal context to that call, the far end participant feels like they really have that seat at the table, like they're able to see everything all at once and understand what the entire group consensus is, even while they're still able to focus in on that head and shoulders type view of an active speaker at any given time. So those are our 3 framing modes at this point. Now, people framing is currently available on that E70 as well as an X70 Android-based video bar. And we also have speaker and group framing available across our entire X series, as well as the majority of our USB-based peripheral video bars too. Any questions at this point about any of our framing modes?
We'll probably hold off any of those questions until the end, but thank you so much. That was great. What I don't like about this is that I can't sneak a pretzel in, while you guys are talking, because the framing mode would catch me red-handed. So we're going to now leave this room and we're going to go into another room. Is that correct?
Yes,
what
exactly.
What room are we going to go to next?
So we're going to join me on our X70 video bar, which is called Everglades in the Zoom room.
Okay, so while Elizabeth runs over there, I am going to look into the Q&A section. We got a quick question, but we can kind of fill in a little time with Albert. A question came in from Aaron. What kind of connection options are there in the E70? Is it USB only, or does it have HDMI or SDI out, or so I can utilize multiple cameras or different angles in spaces in a space?
So, Aaron, at this time, USB only, right? And you saw the one camera there, but you can add multiple cameras to some of our solutions, like the G7500, and the X70 and the X50. You can add an extra camera there as well. So you can do that. We're making some announcements at Zoomtopia, where we're going to get into the PC-based rooms, and you're going to see where we can add multiple cameras there as well. So that's why it's kind of important on the USB side, just for ease of use and switching and getting in there.
Sounds great. All right. Next question. Since we were talking about that specific room, I guess we should address the questions that are specific to that room. One question came in from Adam regarding, is that based on Zoom, or can it be used with any platform? I'm assuming they're talking about the room, the framing. That is based on that is your equipment that's doing that. It doesn't matter what, it can be used on any different platform, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I hope that answers the question, Adam. Jared had a question. How easy is it to transfer from the framing modes to presets? If I'm correct, I just saw Elizabeth hit a button or two and it's automatically switched, because that's going into your touch panel that's connected into the space. Is that also correct, Albert?
Yeah, and I'll let Elizabeth answer that too. She was right there, but I think it's just a drop down. I click on my TC8 and go and put it in another framing mode.
Well, Elizabeth is joining us from a new room. Elizabeth, you care to answer the question? How easy was it to go from framing modes to presets?
Sure. I would say that Zoom in particular makes it very easy to swap between modes. Everything is right there on your TC8 touch panel. On Teams, depending on the platform that you're joining in from, Android or Windows, the process may look slightly different, but you do still have that kind of snap of the fingers ease regarding switching between them, regardless of the platform.
Okay. Another question regarding the previous room that we were in. What microphone and DSP setup were in that room? Did you have a specific microphone and DSP setup in the E70 room?
The E70 room uses two Polycom ceiling mics. They look like those little golf balls that hang from the ceiling. In order to get the microphones, we're using Shure speaker tiles in that room. And then that E70 camera all connected into a G7500 Android-based codec.
Okay, thank you so much. Is the team certification, and this comes from an anonymous attendee, is the team certification for the G75 out yet? I heard it's due very soon. I guess that's a question for Albert.
So yes, it is. We had an announcement, I think it was last week, that I sent out to my good people at Starin, the sales rep team. The next rev level of the G7500 will have native teams in it. So we're excited about that. That's huge for us.
Awesome. And the final question regarding the room that we were previously in, is there an API available for manual control of that EPTZ?
That I'll have to bounce that off one of our AV gurus here, Jim Smith. But if we can get that question to me, I will definitely get it answered. Okay,
sounds great. All right, Elizabeth, take it. The floor is yours in the Everglades room now. What are we in store for now?
Fantastic. So thank you again, Chris. And right now I'm joining you from my demo studio. The endpoint that I'm using to join into this webinar from at this point is the Studio X70 video bar. This is an all-in-one video bar that includes the camera, exact same camera as the E70 that I was using in the other conference room. But we're also built out with mics and speakers directly in that bar itself, as well as a built-in Android-based codec. So this X70 video bar is really that ultimate plug-and-play solution for a large room. It will track up to 25 feet from a camera perspective, and then with audio you also have mic pickup of 25 plus feet. So I've zoomed out all the way to show my entire demo studio so that I can demonstrate the pickup range on this mic, and I'm going to actually move all the way into the back corner of my room here. So right now I'm not as far back as I can go in this corner. I'm standing about 23 feet away from the video bar at this point, and I'm not using any additional peripherals from a microphone perspective. We're just using the microphones that are built into that bar that's mounted at the front of my room. So 23 feet away, I'm speaking at my normal speaking voice, and you can hear how clearly this comes through. Even if I drop my voice down below my normal speaking level, you can still hear me clearly on the far end. So our mics are really powerful, and we want to kind of, think about that power of poly audio as something that is going to pick up anything that you hear in your space. If you are sitting at a conference room table and whispering to your colleague right next to you that a meeting could have been an email, your far-end participant is going to know. So we also want to kind of build out some checks and balances for these microphones so that they're powerful enough to pick up anything in the room, but they're also going to be limited to what they pick up outside of that conference space. So in this instance, you can see I do have a glass wall out here. If I have colleagues having a side conversation outside this wall, you can bet that the microphone's going to pick up those noises and transmit it to the far end of this call to that remote participant. And we don't want that to happen. We also have a large picture window out here, and of course we get traffic noises, we get landscaping noises. If there's a storm outside, which has often happened down here in Virginia where we get a lot of rain, all of these noises can kind of seep through to that far end user. So what we built into all of our video bars is a technology called acoustic fence, and it essentially uses the beamforming microphone array in the video bars themselves to draw an invisible line that is unique to the dimensions of your own conference space. And essentially that acoustic fence says outside of this line, say beyond this glass wall, your voices are going to be muted down. Any noises that are happening outside of these boundaries are going to be muted down and suppressed. They're not going to be transmitted to your remote participant. So I'm just going to demonstrate that now for you. I'm going to turn on my acoustic fence. And I'm just going to walk and talk outside of that fence. I just ask that you give me a quick thumbs up when you hear me cross over that invisible line. I'll start clapping and walking outside of the acoustic. You can see how powerful that technology is. As soon as I stepped past that acoustic fence, my voice was muted down, my clapping was muted down, so that you can really only hear what's happening inside of that barrier itself. Now, I always like to mention the acoustic fence, it is customizable to space. So what I was selecting when I toggled my acoustic fence on is the ultimate, most narrow acoustic fence possible for demonstration purposes, but you have the ability to customize that so that you can really make sure that it is suitable for your unique conferencing space, whether it's a small room or a larger room like this one. I'm going to toggle my acoustic fence off, since I tend to step over it. And then I'd also just like to demonstrate something else for you within our acoustic innovations, and this is Noise Block AI. So I'll go ahead and zoom in just a little bit so you can see me a bit closer. Now, with acoustic fence, we're thinking about all of the sounds that are happening outside of our conference space, but we also want to think about sounds that can be irritating or distracting to far-end participants on our calls that can happen within the conference space itself. So, for instance, loud keyboard typing can be distracting. If there's HVAC sounds in the room, Chris is clicking his pen, so any of those small sounds. For demonstration purposes, I always keep my trusty bag of potato chips here. I always think of working lunches, for instance, as an incident where you might hear those little sounds come through and distract from the far end. So as I wrestle my potato chips, you can hear how irritating that sound is. I feel like I have to raise my voice a little bit to speak over it because I'm not confident that my far end participant is able to hear me clearly. So Noise Block AI is actually listening for the sound of my human voice, and it's going to amplify that voice over other sounds. It's also listening for sounds like this non-human potato chip rustling noise, and it's going to mute them down or suppress them as much as possible so that they're softened to that far end participant. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my Noise Block AI. And if I rustle those potato chips again, you can hear that that sound is a little bit more muted, softened down. It's much harder to hear. Even if I rustle it and speak at the same time, you may hear a little bit of it clipping through because now that technology is working to differentiate between the two sounds, but it's so much softer. It's much less distracting to your far-end participant. So again, just like those camera innovations that we have, Noise Block AI and Acoustic Fence are working together to make your far-end remote participants feel like they are in the room with you. They're able to concentrate on the collaboration, the ideas that are being shared in your conference, your meeting, without being distracted by all of the other noises, all of the other little incidental things that can become irritations within a remote call. Now, of course, one thing I want to mention here is while we looked at our camera innovations as well as acoustic innovations in room systems themselves, a lot of these technologies are available across the vast majority of our product line. So Poly offers voice technologies. We offer phones that have acoustic fence and Noise Block AI. Many of our headsets offer these features as well. Even USB-based personal video bars meant for home office solutions can still give you that acoustic fence, that Noise Block AI. So, a dog barking in the background, someone mowing their lawn outside of your home, your neighbor mowing their lawn, all of that can be muted down too. So we're really working to make sure it's not just a great experience from a conference room perspective, it's also a great experience from a hybrid working perspective. So I'll just pause there before I jump into my final demo of the P15. Are there any questions at this point?
We'll go into the Q&A right now, take a look at it. Jared asked, maybe I'm jumping ahead, but do you have any audio masking able to reject sounds from specific directions? And that question was answered with the noise fence, right? Yep. All right. So let's move that. Thank you, Jared, for the question. May I ask the next question? May I ask the difference between the TC8 with the X50/70 and using it as a standalone?
So with the TC8, you're able to control the room from the touch controller itself. The TC8 will also work to show all of the meetings that have been scheduled within that room. So it also allows you to understand, whether or not that room has been booked for a specific time slot. Now, using the devices in BYOD, or what we call device mode, will simply allow you to take over the endpoint itself using your laptop, essentially as the computing portion of the unit. So it simply depends on what type of call you want to take, how much control you'd like to have over your call, and how much you want to drive the call on your own personal system, like your laptop, while still taking advantage of the innovations like the acoustic fence and the Noise Block AI, camera tracking, etc., versus running purely from the room itself and maybe leaving your laptop outside of the room if you don't want that distraction.
Let me hop in there 1 second too on this question. I believe it might also be the participant was asking to maybe have a standalone TC8 outside my my conference room, and do some stuff on that. So at this time, the TC8 we do pair with the X series, right? The 30, 50, 70, and G7500. Stay tuned in the next 2 weeks for some really cool stuff about standalone. If that was your question, we're going to have some a standalone product come out. I think you guys will really love. That's about all I can say there. I'm sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a spoiler. It's not a hint. Yeah. It's just a spoiler. All right. Let's readdress what that is, Albert. You just spoiled it for everybody. But definitely, we're not going to go into many details. Nobody's going to get in trouble for that one, right? Right. Good. See, you took it out of my hands. I like to take those juicy bits until the very end, but man, all right.
All right. Sorry about that.
That's okay. We're not friends after this, though. But there's no more coffee. Anyway, thank you so much. Next question came in from Matthew. Matthew has a general EPTZ question. Known problem with all of them. I guess this is not a poly-directed question, but just an EPTZ question in general. A common complaint I have from customers is the delayed or choppy movement of an EPTZ. Is there going to be a solution to improving this particular shortcoming in 2022 or early 2023?
So Elizabeth, I can help on that one too. We're always improving the camera feature functionality, right? Every release we have, something new is in there, quicker, tighter shots. I see some stuff coming, of course, but where we were 2 years ago and where we are now with the wipe and the fade and how it just followed Elizabeth in the other room, we've been leaps and bounds there. But yes, our camera guys are always working on making it better. I don't know, Elizabeth, if you have anything to add there.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you, Albert. We're constantly innovating, and I've seen innovations even within the existing cameras and solutions that we offer through firmware updates over the past several months. So more to come.
Yeah, and I'll just want to add into that, regardless of how great we build the AI and the machine learning into this sort of stuff, it's going to be hard to give you that cameraman feel. That's something that everybody's truly chasing after. Every manufacturer wants to be able to give you the smooth dissolve wipes, transitions, camera tracking, and all that. I think it's gotten better, but there is something to be said for a cameraman at a sporting event who is still tracking a player as they move down. I think that is would be the holy grail of EPTZ camera tracking, is to get to that point. In time, maybe, right? Things are progressing very fast. So I hope, I don't think that's I don't have a solid answer for it, but every time when we talk about the choppiness or that kind of little hesitation, it comes down to it's people versus robot, right? And it's predictive versus instinct. And I think I went to school for this, so I'm all about the cameraman. I'm still trying to perfect that shot, and I mess up a lot when I do it. So thank you. Next question came from Adam. I know CO2 sensors are being built into these devices. Is there a release date for the firmware to turn that feature on? Is there going to be an open API to integrate the HVAC or other control systems to take actions on the data? That's the question.
So I'll hop in, and then absolutely, Elizabeth, hop in with me. So I do know there's CO2 sensors out there. I haven't fooled around with those yet. As far as integrating it into the HVAC, that I'm not sure. That's another one I'll have to check.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Adam, that is, all right. We'll definitely get that to the,
our API person
the
in the sky.
Yeah, that threw me off too. Mark has a question. Mark is asking, are those changes done through the TC8 or GC8, or did it require PC interaction? In regards to the changes that you were doing in that particular space, Elizabeth?
So the two acoustic innovations, Acoustic Fence and Noise Block AI, are meant to be set and forget settings when you install your rooms. You don't necessarily want an end user to walk into a room and completely change the field of your acoustic fence at a moment's notice, and then, potentially cause an issue with the experience of the next person's call because of it. So with the Acoustic Fence and the Noise Block AI, I have my laptop open right here. I'm actually in the web user interface of the IP address for that unit, and I'm toggling them on and off. So while for purposes of demonstration, I'm doing that right here on my laptop, your end user is not expected to need to fool around with those settings at all. It's purely administrative for these two set and forget settings.
That makes 100% sense. I don't know if anybody would be wanting to create a digital, an acoustic fence midstream in a meeting. I think that is all pretty much done ahead of time. So thank you so much, Elizabeth, for that answer. Jared asks another question. With the EPTZ mechanism, is there any sound that would be distracting to a nearby participant in the room while it's moving? If it's EPTZ, it's not mechanical. It's complete digital pan tilt zoom, correct?
So I can hop in on that one. What our camera technology does is looks for your face, nose, mouth, and then triangulates your voice where that's coming from. So it has like noises if someone's banging on a desk. Not really. It's not going to go there. It's actually looking for facial features to track to.
Okay, sounds great. Last question, and then Elizabeth will jet over to the next space from Steve. Is there a difference in the microphone pickup distance between the X30, X50, and the X70? I'm assuming it is small, medium, large kind of setup, but do you have the specifics as far as feet or meters go?
Sure. So with the Studio X30 video bar, that's this bar right here mounted on top of my monitor, suitable for a room about 3 to 5 people, huddle room space. You're going to have about 15 feet of audio pickup with that unit. With the Studio X50, which is our medium room solution, I have one right here. You do actually have 25 feet of microphone pickup. So the speaker array in here, very similar to the speaker array in the X70. And then that X70 large room solution, which I'm using now, is going to still give you 25 plus feet of pickup.
I would just caution on the X50, it might pick up 25 feet of audio, but the camera's not going to be as strong as the one Elizabeth is on now. So I would check our data sheets for that. I don't think it quite goes 25 feet. And if it does, it's not the exceptional quality we're used to with Poly.
So when you're designing the space, what your best tip would be to design towards the camera focal as opposed to the audio in this case? That's
what I like to do. Yep.
Okay. All right, cool. That's a good way to look at it. Elizabeth, if you want to hop over to the next space, we will join you shortly in where you're going to next.
Sure. All right. I will be right back.
Okay. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions or Q&A, go down to the bottom page and you see the Q&A button. Drop your questions and answer your questions in there. We're not going to prevent anything. We're going to try to answer all the questions as we can up front and get it out in space. So while Elizabeth's moving on to the next space real quick, Albert, where can we find Poly next? Because you guys have been touring, you've been out in person, you've been doing, obviously the experience centers are open, you're doing open houses and you're doing all sorts of meetings and stuff like that. Where can we expect to see Poly next for the people that are, this is a group that's all over the country?
Absolutely. And just to comment on Adam's CO2 thing again, I really dig that his vision is the CO2 is going off and the HVAC already, kicks on so the people don't have to do anything in the room. So I'll definitely get you an answer on that. But to your question, so we have Zoomtopia coming up, right? That's November 8th and 9th out in San Jose, I believe. So if you can't make it live there, absolutely reach out to your Starin rep. And Poly is having what we call Zoomtopia Watch Party. We're having it down where Elizabeth is, New York City, Austin, a couple sites, across the pond in Europe. So going to have some fun there, going to have prizes, probably, I'm sure, wine and cheese at the end. So if you can't make it out to Zoomtopia, hopefully you can make it to one of our experience centers, see all this great gear that Elizabeth is demoing for us, see some of the new stuff we're going to announce at Zoomtopia. I think it'll be fun. So if you get a chance, absolutely get to those.
You're not giving them all the details. So what, Albert, you give away some, but you don't give away the goods here. There's prizes, there's some raffles, some stuff. There is some interesting stuff. The reason why I know is because I'm going to be in Herndon for the 8th and 9th. So I can, if there's anybody in the DC area, I invite you guys, send me a note and we will get you the registration for the DC thing. If you want to hang out with me, there are Starin folks going to be in New York City at the Experience Center there as well. You never know who may show up. There may be some interesting folks that decide to walk through those doors, but what better way to experience Zoomtopia than, with a bunch of people kind of all getting that information all at once and having all the people there from the Poly people, and maybe their special guests from Zoom may be there. You never know, but you'll be able to do, right up front Q&A. If you can't be in San Jose, this is obviously a nice way to experience Zoomtopia in a different way. We've talked about hybrid events. We've talked about all different types of, in-person shows, but this one is taking an in-person hybrid event, which is what Zoom's doing, and bringing it closer to you so you can kind of get that experience and see the technology firsthand. So don't sleep on that offer. Take it up. See if anybody is going. If you guys want to go, just we'll provide you a link at the end, and in the follow up to this, we can provide a link to some to the watch party itself. I'm excited to go. Thank you for inviting me, Albert. So, where did Elizabeth go? She went off to. And she's ready to go. Yeah, I just had to scroll over a little bit. Welcome back, Elizabeth. And thank you for saving us, because me and Albert, we're going to start, now having an argument who has a better football team. But outside of that, please take it away.
Awesome. Thank you. So right now I'm actually coming to you from my laptop. So I'm just using the built-in mic and speakers on my laptop here. And you probably are not getting the greatest image. I know this is not the best angle for me. You're probably not hearing the best audio quality either, using those integrated mic and speakers like many of us have been used to doing, especially in the new hybrid work kind of paradigm that we're all in post-COVID. This is not the ideal. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and switch over to one of our hybrid working solutions, which is the P15. You can see it right behind me. This is a USB-based video bar that's designed for home office use. I'll go ahead and swap over my video. And pretty much right away, you're able to see how much better that video is. You can even see as the camera tracks me, we do have some tracking capabilities in this unit, and I'm just very relieved to be off of that unflattering angle and now with a much better image too. So we have this 4K camera right here that's able to give me the best picture quality that I can get. But then also as I switch over from the integrated microphone into my you can also hear the difference in that audio. So it should be much clearer. I do have noise block AI features on this unit, and I can also set an acoustic fence. So this way, any kind of static in the background, I have several PCs running in this space. You're not going to be able to hear that anymore. Everything is much clearer, and you get that real great sense of integrity in terms of the way that both my image and my voice are being transmitted to you now. Now with that P15, it's part of our P series family. So P15 is going to be a 4K camera. You have tracking capabilities, noise block, and acoustic fence, all in a single USB plug-and-play device. Just link it right into your laptop or a docking station in your home office, and you're good to go. We also do have the P5 right here. This is going to be our smaller hybrid working webcam, so really fantastic to just grab and go. You can throw this in your bag really effortlessly, really fantastic for travel. You still get fantastic poly quality from that camera. And then I do have my P21 right here as well, which is an external monitor solution that has built-in capabilities like a mute button. We have vanity lighting on the sides of this. And then we also have a Qi charger for your phone right on the base. So again, really fantastic USB-based peripherals to round out your home office and hybrid working. And then this is also the unit, the endpoint that will be raffling off today, I believe. So really exciting prize. Everybody at Poly loves this USB-based video bar. It's just a fantastic option for those of us who are on the go.
Well, now, Elizabeth, now you turned into Albert and you gave away the prize before we even got to it. Yes, you are receiving a P15. I do have 2 points that I'd like to bring out. I have a P15. 2 things that I appreciate and like about the P15, and this is not just a sponsored thing. the audio coming out of there, the local audio, much better, much improved. If you're relying on computer speakers coming out of your laptop, you will notice a massive difference by putting that and using all the audio that's coming from it. And that's kind of hard to demo in that space. But the audio that you hear is rich. It's a deeper tone, much nicer. The other way that I use the P15 for people that are on this call and thinking, oh, well, you know, it's looking to you, it's looking as a big camera. Let me explain how I use it. In this situation right now where I'm at as a town hall host, I'm not moving. But in my demo area where I will demonstrate, I use the P15 to track me because I am a one-man shop. So I am operating on a whiteboard and drawing out, kind of working out a design, the camera will track and move with me. So if you have people that need to get up, for teachers that are teaching from home, people that are doing instruction. My son is a Taekwondo instructor. So yes, the P15 goes with him and it follows him as he's doing his forms and teaching it to the younger kids. So if you are a single person without the ability of having somebody doing camera operation, that sort of a feature comes in really, really handy. And especially if you have somebody who's an active presenter, somebody who, unlike me, I talk with my hands, but there are people that talk with their hands, get up, want to move around and have that nervous energy. The P15 is a nice feature that it has and the ability to camera track. And you don't think about that typically when you're looking at a webcam for a home office, but think about that when you're talking to your teachers, talking to instructors or people that have to demonstrate certain things. A lot of times that camera and its ability to follow track comes in handy, and it's not the first thing that people think about. So I just want to put that into your designer caps and have that with you. It's that I'm not speaking out of turn, am I, Albert? I mean, that seems to be like a proper use of an auto tracking camera, especially in a home space.
Absolutely.
Okay, sounds great. We have another
or a small. I'm sorry, 1 second, Chris. We'll see them in our what we call little hotel spaces at Poly, where 1 or 2 people might come in with their PC, boom, and we can have a meeting. I get up and leave it there. So we're seeing that in a lot of companies as well in their little hotel spaces.
I've tried putting my dog next to me. It doesn't track very well with it, but you know what? She doesn't have a lot to say. She's usually snoring next to me. So the works out good when it comes to that. But Molly's, wait, I'm sure there's going to be a UPS person showing up anytime, any minute now. So you'll hear that go off, that alarm. We do have another question from Adam. Adam asks, a lot of architects are taking their clients, talking to their clients about CO2 because of the studies done around productivity. Normal range is 400 to 1,000 ppm. Workers are 60% more efficient if they, 60% more efficient if they can keep it below 400 ppm in a room. Those are some interesting statistics. I too believe that the CO2 is going to be something that is going to be part of these builds as it's part of that wellness, right? And that's a big conversation in the workplace, and getting people back into the workplace is obviously the wellness part of it. So interesting that it's going to go where you're taking this, Adam. But Albert is taking notes. I can see he will get that information.
Yeah. Definitely, Adam. We'll get somebody in touch that can talk with you with that. I would also say for the tech people on the call, we have Tech Tuesday where it's just solution architects and SEs from all over the United States. Every Tuesday, we have a Tech Tuesday call run by Brian Amato and bringing in guest speakers, whether it's Micron talking about some of their USB extenders, Poly people talking about what's coming, cameras, everything. I would suggest, especially the CO2, you can throw that up in there as well. That's the place where we get down into the nitty gritty and the dirt. So, we would definitely send you a link. If someone, can you put my email out there so these guys with the questions can just send it to me and I can send them links? Or do we have my email out there? Or
we can
albert.campbell@poly.com. Just that simple. Definitely send you guys the links and get you in touch with the experts on my side. Unfortunately, I'm not an expert on the CO2 or things like that, but Tech Talk Tuesdays, I love always introducing new products. And then SE, channel partner SEs and SAs are in there asking questions, and we usually get anywhere between 80 and 100 per Tuesday on a call. So I would definitely say look into your Tech Tuesdays as well at Poly.
Yeah, and if anybody, like I would like to vouch for Brian Amato. I think he is a great presenter. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. I mean, me and him, we met at the Herndon office a few months back, and it was kind of like that like showdown of like the tumbleweed we're going, because we were eyeing up each other, sizing up each other as who hosts a better show. If it's my, ability to host a town hall or his ability to do Tech Tuesdays, it was a very, kind of like a, hush went over the crowd. But then, I conceded he's better at this than I am. But Brian is somebody that you definitely want to follow and take a look at. He knows what he's doing. He brings in the special guests, and what they're doing on Tech Tuesdays may be the more in-depth technical conversation that you guys are looking for. Yes, us nerdy folks, we do like to seek out the nerdiest of nerdy conversations, and Tech Tuesday can definitely go down that rabbit hole. So go ahead. We will get you the information, because that is a question that popped up from Mark. How do we register for Tech Tuesdays? I will get that information, or Albert will provide that information as well. That is, it's actually advertised a lot. If you don't follow Brian Amato on LinkedIn, he does pop that up quite frequently up on LinkedIn, and you can reach out there, and he will have his schedule and do his ads for where you can catch up to it. And it's his weekly call. So check it out. All right. I think that's all we have for questions. If there is no more questions, Albert, we've talked about a lot of different things. This is the part of the town hall where I want you to bring it home. What are we missing? What did we skip? What did we not get? Before I obviously go into and announce what everybody's really here for, which is the prize. Sorry, Albert.
Yeah.
I do like spending time with you, more with Elizabeth than you. But while we're here, I do know that we are all not liked, and that we are all just here just to get to the prize, because that's what the folks come here for. They come here for prizes and for the swag. It's reality, man. It's just the way it works.
Love it.
What did we miss? What did we not talk about? And what's the closing thing that we need to bring this home with?
So another exciting thing that we announced I believe it was yesterday or the day before, was our X series is now going to be certified for Google Meets. So that's it's our Android side of the shop, right? Our X series. And I think we're the first Android solution, all-in-one solution, to be certified for Google Meets. That's going to be Q1 of next year. Excited about that. Just another feather in our cap to go with all the UC platforms that you can go into natively. So I believe that's kind of cool for us. Again, got some really cool stuff coming out in Zoomtopia. Can't really talk about that yet, but I would say stay tuned for that. And absolutely, there's some cool stuff happening there.
Teaser, dude. That's leaving us with these like cliffhangers.
Come to New York City. Tell them to come to one of the centers. They'll be able to see
Albert says, come to New York
about.
City or come to Herndon.
Yes.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us and putting up with me and Albert going back and forth. Where can folks find out more information about the experience centers?
Sure. So you can either look at the Poly website. We have an entire page dedicated to the different experience centers that we offer and how we can tailor our customer briefings in these spaces to yourselves as partners and clients. But then also you can reach out to your local Poly account manager, your representative from Poly, and they will also be able to put in a request at your behalf and help us really strategize to make sure that your customers' time in the center is as productive and useful to them as possible.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for giving us a quick tour of the Herndon facility. And I just have here on note that Herndon is a funner facility than New York City. I'm just now going to start that controversy. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Appreciate it. And folks, if you want to take a look or need a tour of the facility, Starin will be happy to help you out with that. Engage with your local Starin rep or your CEs, and we will go ahead and take care of that for you as well. We can set that whole meeting up where you can get the live action version of this and ask the questions and get hands-on and play with the technology, and just don't break it. You can try, but just don't break it. So that's it. And now for the big part, or the grand finale, the part that we've been waiting for. Producer Mark has spun the prize-o-meter off in the background, and he has sent me the note that the winner of the Poly P15 is Emma Boyd Ryan. Congratulations. Emma, you have won the P15. Producer Mark will reach out to get you that. Get some information to ship you out, and just right on cue, Molly shows up. Yes, because it's delivery time at the Neto house, and Why not? Man, where's the acoustic fence when I need it? And she won't stop talking. But anyway, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Chris Neto. I'm the market development manager. That's Molly. She's telling me that there's a delivery. I apologize for that. Oh, man, this is just not what I want. Give me 2 seconds. Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. Albert, I will see you at Zoomtopia in various locations. Elizabeth, I will see you in about a week or so. And come see us at the Zoomtopia watch party down at the Poly Experience Center in Herndon. If you need information on that, reach out to your Starin reps. We have all that gear. And we do have another town hall coming up soon because we have one once a month at least. And stay tuned for that information. I can't give away who's coming on next because we like to keep that a surprise. That's how producer Mark runs things now. Again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Thank you so much for listening. This has been another Starin Town Hall.